Hey there, hope you guys are having a fantastic day in your neck of the woods. This is Michael Does Life, and thank you so kindly for tagging along once again as we continue, folks, to talk about this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. We got some exciting tidbits to cover throughout the course of this video, so with that said, folks, let's go ahead and get right to it. Actually, real quick before we get started, folks, I just found this the other day. It's actually the official strategy guide, as you can see, for Shinji Mikami's Resident Evil Remake. And a lot of people are actually saying that I'm not a real Resident Evil fan. And if I weren't a real Resident Evil fan, then why in the blue hell would I have this? You know what I mean? And I still do think that this game right here, folks, Shinji Mikami's Resident Evil Remake, is still the best Resident Evil game of all time. It doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't cater to the Fortnite crowd. It's just an unbelievable experience from start to beginning. So I just wanted to bring that up real quick, that I am a real Resident Evil fan, and this kind of just solidifies that idea. So I'm here on the official YouTube channel for Resident Evil, and as you can see, Capcom has released part 2 of the Roundtable discussion series, where the developers candidly discuss the behind-the-scenes nature of this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. And in that video, Capcom, as you can see here from this article from Destructoid.com, Capcom shares scrapped ideas for this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. And we'll go over them real quick because they are rather interesting. Check out this enemy that they scrapped. I'm not necessarily sure if this would have fit in this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. However, with that said, maybe something for Resident Evil 8? And this is really what I wanted to focus on, folks. And I'll tell you in a moment why this ties into this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. But this, folks, as you can see, is Capcom's implementation of the first-person mode in this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. Now, obviously, this was scrapped officially. And if we continue to scroll down here, fixed camera angles were actually in, at one point, this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. But again, like the first-person perspective, this was also scrapped as well. And really, I think this is ultimately what Capcom needs to do here with an all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. They need to incorporate both play styles and have them optional, of course, right from the get-go. Have it where the game asks you what kind of perspective you would like to play in. You know, first person, fixed camera angle, or over the shoulder third person. And I think ultimately, if that was the decision that they made with this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, that would really honestly satisfy every Resident Evil fan across the globe. It's really something that they should take a second look into. And that's going to do it for today's video in regards to this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. I know this video was a tad bit thin on content, but there's only so much that I can do, and there's only so much that is out there, you know what I mean? And I don't want to string you guys along for a ride that's like 10 minutes long when there's nothing too concrete in the video, you know what I mean? So I'd rather have it short and sweet as opposed to 10 minutes long where I don't tell you anything, right? So I continue to thank you for your support, because if we can come together, continue to come together and push really hard and really strong to say, hey, Capcom, this is what we are indeed clamoring for, well, then that only helps things, right? So if you are new here, please consider subscribing for more information on this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. And with that said, take care, and I'll see you guys soon.